Okay, I printed two halves of the handle. The first half, it peeled off the bed a bit, and the corners got a little bit thinned out, but it doesn't really matter because this is half of the handle anyway. Besides, I kind of like that shape on the ends. It's even, at least it's on both sides. Well, I did this the other day. I put the wire strut in, so it's a little bit cockeyed because the wire is pushing it one way a bit, but I don't want to bend it back now because it's in the plastic and it will snap, but it's okay because I'm going to stick it up against, well, once both halves are done, it's going to be, I'm going to stick them together so it makes one handle. But for the moment, what I've done is I've just been fitting this wire inside here. So I've just been shaping the wire, and what I've got to do, it's really good. It's nicely in there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's in there. So yeah, I don't need to take it out, but I just wanted to show you a little bit better. So the welding, right, I've got it now. It's just a bit awkward. So I've got the welding rod, I've shaped it. I've been bending it by hand, and the tricky part is the corners, just getting the hot corners just right. Otherwise it sort of overshoots, so it undershoots, and if you don't get it just curved just right. So anyway, so push that down, and what I'll do is I'll fill this channel up with glue, with my plastic stuff and my homemade ABS acetone melted glue. I can fill that up. Then it'll become permanently a part of this handle, and then there's no risk of the handle breaking or snapping, because, well, if it does break and snap, the wire will hold it together, and it just makes it a lot stronger so it can lift more weight, because that transformer is pretty heavy. Anyway, so next step really is to fill the channel up with some glue. Let's just make sure that's all the way down. So I think actually a bit of acetone first, because the acetone will help it seep. So I'll just squirt a bit more acetone in there. And right, so, and I'll get my glue. I'm going to take the needle off because I don't want restricted flow, because I need quite a bit of this. So I am going to I don't know if you can see properly, but the camera's in the wrong place, I suppose. Hang on a minute. Oh, I've got this cushion down here now as well, which is another story. It's to keep my feet warm, and it's blocking my camera stand. Oh, that's better. Right, see if I can. Right, I think that'll work. Kind of looking straight down now. I'm actually looking for the camera and I can't see what I'm doing. So if I just put some of this glue down here. Doesn't have to be. I'll just spread it around with my screwdriver in a minute. I'll just put some blobs in there. I don't want to soften the handle too much because it might deform. Right, so I haven't done the other side yet, but well, it's just lightly in there. So I'm going to get my screwdriver and just rub that around. It's just to stop it sliding. I was thinking about the transformer wiring, and I was going to go for I was considering using a junction box, and I thought, well, what's the point of a junction box anyway? It's just going to add an extra £4, £5 onto the price of it, and I'm thinking I don't really need that. So I've decided to I made up a lead electrical cable, and I'm just going to run the electrical cable directly into the box, and heat shrink sleeve, solder the wires, heat shrink sleeve it, and then 3D print a cover with a cable clamp built into the cover onto the top of the box, and then it's basically done. I can treat the box that I make for the cable with some acetone to make it waterproof, and it should be fine. I've just noticed actually there's a blob on here. I have to trim that off. A bit of plastic off where it's stuck with one of them holes on the print bed. Right there. The reason I need to get rid of the lumpy bit is because I've got to stick these two halves together. So, right, so yeah, so these two halves are going to go together and make one big handle, and the wires are embedded, so I probably need to do the other one as well now. I'm running out of blooming glue as well. I haven't got much left in here. That's why I'm trying to blob it on and not squirt it everywhere. The corners are important, I suppose. Can't see properly because the phone's in the way now, but you can get a good view. I don't really need to see too much. I'm just being blobby today. I think that'll be enough. I was going to print another half of the handle because this one was a bit misshapen, and I thought, bugger it, it'll do, it'll work. It's only a handle. Right. So I've still got to stick these two halves together. Let's see. So, right, I suppose the next bit is to make sure these two halves are going to stick together properly. I'm probably going to have to wrap some tape or something around them, because what I'll do now is let's just hold it together and see if it lines up. Well, what I'll do is I'll stick this back edge on together, and then I'll just do the legs later, because as long as this part at the top is stuck together right, it'll be fine. I've just literally nearly run out of glue. I might have some in a tube, I'm not sure. A bit of acetone will work anyway, I think. Right, so I'll just got a bit of acetone on here. Oops, don't want to get too much on. sorry about the angle. I'll move the camera back a bit. That's probably better. Because it was right under my nose. Right, so that's sticking. I can feel it's drying already. Starting to. And I can use some clips on the ends to hold this together. So if I get my these clips and just put these on the end to hold them together like that, and I'll get one on the other end. It's a bit springy, it's the wire that's doing that. Right, and that will hold them together like that while I squirt some acetone between the gap, because I've run out of glue. So yeah, I'll have to do that one. It'll be fine. If there's any gaps later on, I'll just find some glue to stick in there. It should be fine because there's quite a bit of plastic in there that's going to move around. It's going to be pretty strong, this, when it's done. Move that down there a bit because it's already drying. It's this end that's not right. I've got to pull it back before it dries. Trying to get it to meet up properly. Right, let's check the other end. Sticking to me. Yeah, that's going to work. It's this corner at this end, this edge keeps moving, so I'm going to have to stick the clip on there as well. Have I got another clip? Oh, I know. Oh yeah, it's on my biscuit, but my biscuits, I'll get that one off. Let's see if I can get this on here. Don't know if it's going to work. I've got to hold it together while it dries. That's a problem. I haven't printed the brackets yet because I was debating something about, you know, the brackets that this slides into on the side of the transformer. I was debating whether or not to make this handle so it can pivot, as in, you know, around the transformer, which means I would have to make something on the end that was round. I was debating that idea, but then I thought, I don't know if that's going to be a good idea. It would make it easy to get access to the transformer, lift the top part off. That's the only thing. But I'm thinking, do I really need to take it off? And I'm thinking, not really, because the fuse is, there's going to be a fuse in the plug. So technically, I don't need to have access. I'm going to route the output, well, the secondary windings out of the transformer, so just in case I decide later on to actually use the AC output on the low voltage side. And it'll also be useful for measuring the low voltage side to see what kind of waveform we get on the oscilloscope, because it'll be isolated. So yeah, I thought yeah, it'd be useful, especially if you want to run low voltage a low voltage AC regulator. But then the petrol generator has its own DC output anyway, but doesn't actually have an AC output, or low voltage AC output, that is. So yeah, it might be useful, I don't know, we'll see. I've got to keep pushing this in until it dries, and turn that off a minute. This will be really hard, really strong once it dries out. Yeah. Anyway, I'll just bring the transformer over a minute and show you what I mean. Just a sec. Oh. I haven't stuck the two halves together yet. The two halves are still, there's a gap there anyway. I've got to put a bracket down there so the handle's sliding in, and I'll take these clips off a minute. I shouldn't need them now anyway. So basically the handle will go down the side like that. And as I say, I was debating whether or not to make it pivot at the bottom so that you could move the handle out of the way, like that, to take the top lid off. I'm still debating that. I haven't decided yet, so I'm still thinking about it, whether or not it's actually technically feasible anyway, because of the way I made it. I can't really drill a hole through there because this box is very thin, and I would drill into the transformer. That's the problem. Unless I put a countersunk bolt on the inside of the box with a bolt coming out, then I could basically bend this out and clip it over the bolts, and then that's a possibility. And then I could literally have this pivot. But remember, there's a wire in there now. There's two wires in there, and both halves there's a piece of wire, so it would have to be right in the middle. So this would have to be, these joints would have to be really strong. I could have a washer on the outside, so I could bolt it on, and it could literally be removed without. So that's probably what I'll do, actually, because having the ability to move the handle down like that is useful, because then you can take the top section off, get access to the transformer inside it. So I might do that. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, it's going to need to let this handle dry out for probably a week anyway, just to make sure it's really dried out properly. So, I mean, technically I could put the weight on the side of it like that. It would keep this flat anyway. I need to trim that bit off. There's a bit of wire sticking out at the bottom of that one. I use my mini grinding disc, I think, and cut that off. But yeah, I just left a bit too much on it. Did it on the other one on the other side as well. I was in two minds about having a hook on the end, actually, to hook it underneath to give it extra strength, but I don't think I need to do that anyway now. So I'm making this transformer box, and then my daughter was telling me that she's making baskets, and it kind of was a bit of deja vu, because I'm thinking, oh my god, my transformer box looks a bit like a bloody basket, doesn't it, really? Basket case. So yeah, I don't know if she'll watch this video and laugh about that, I don't know. So anyway, so it's a good fit. I mean, it's going to be great when it's done. As I say, it's going to be useful because it's it will be a portable high current transformer as well. So its main purpose is to smooth out the ripple or the high frequency pulses that you get out of the petrol generator, because it's got noisy output, and it will act as a damper to those pulses. Now there's another thing you can get, an electronic circuit you can actually add across the output. It's called a transient suppressor, and the way the transient suppressors work, you can find them on eBay, is that they clamp any high voltage spikes that you might get from a generator. So let's say you have a high voltage spike. It's usually caused through inductance from the actual coils in the transformer where it's not smooth properly. You can get these high voltage spikes of several kilovolts sometimes, or anyway, the kind of voltage that could damage sensitive electronics. Now, a transient suppressor is normally open circuit. It normally doesn't conduct anything until it detects a voltage in excess of what it's rated for. So let's say you've got a transient suppressor that's rated at 240 volts or 250 volts. If it was to detect a transient spike above, say, 280 volts or something like that, it would immediately conduct and short that spike out. But it wouldn't continue conducting, otherwise it would blow up, you know, because it would conduct the full power that's coming out of the generator or whatever. All it does is snub out the transient, the spikes in the supply, and they're quite good actually. I've got one of them installed on my. I've had it installed on my one of my extension leads for like 30 years. I think it's still in the plug actually. I probably need to test it sometime, but they usually don't go wrong anyway, because they only conduct when there's a spike anyway, and they're very good for protecting your equipment. So yeah, anyway, that's it for now. I think I need to let me just check to see if that hasn't moved. It's warped a bit on me, but I'm not worried about that. It's got a bit warped, but I'm not worried. That's fine. It's strong in this direction. That's the main thing. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's it for now. I've been busy watching that hurricane thing in Hurricane Ian thing on YouTube. It's pretty devastating. All those poor people have lost their homes and those trailer parks. It's just really bad. I'm just hoping that the government over there can help these people get rehoused or something, or get them a new trailer or something. Let's hope they can get rehoused, because a lot of people have lost everything. So anyway, thanks for watching.